Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily and today we're going to do part one of a kind of top 3 in every makeup category little series here. Normally I would have done this in like one giant video, but I thought we would try and break these up into little smaller bite-sized videos and hopefully that's enjoyable and helpful so that it's not 1 hour-long video. Anyway, today we're going to do my top 3 favorite products in my kind of complexion or base makeup. So primer, color corrector, concealer, foundation, setting powder, and setting spray. And then the next video will be like cream bronzer, cream blush, powder blush, cream highlighter, powder highlighter, and then we will finish off with like eyes and lips and stuff. So hopefully that sounds enjoyable to you guys. This look will be either up or coming. If it's up, I'll link it in the description box. If not, it is coming. And I will link like what's on my face down below as well. All right, let's get into the video. Did I say do the YouTubey things? If I didn't say do the YouTubey things, by the way, please do the YouTubey things. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Alrighty, let's get into it. We're going to start off with primer, and primer was a very easy category for me because I have very much got 3 clear, distinct primers. And it's nice when, you know, it's an easy decision because sometimes I sit here and like agonize over my decisions, I'm not gonna lie. All right, first up, let's get the obvious out of the way. The Chanel Le Beiges Water Fresh Tint. Yes, you can use this as a foundation. It does not have nowhere near the level of coverage that I require for a foundation, but this as a primer, oh, chef's kiss. If you have watched my channel recently, if you have watched my channel for years, you know how intense I feel about this particular product. And this one is brand new. I have used a complete full one up of this before, which tells you a lot because I have quite a lot of makeup in my collection and I just absolutely love it. The best thing about this is like the water fresh side of it. And I know that sounds really obvious, but it really is water fresh. When you apply this, it feels like you've kind of dipped your head in like a cool bowl of water in the best way possible. And I'm someone who has like sensitive, red, irritated skin, quite a lot of the time. So when I apply this, it just feels like my skin has had this cool drink of water and everything just calms down and just creates this really beautiful, hydrated, juiced up, but not oily or greasy complexion for my foundation. And whenever I wear this as a primer, my foundation just looks absolutely perfect for the entire day. So I can't live without this product. It's amazing. Next up is another fave that I have gone through many a bottle, the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. I'm nearly finished with this one. I already have a backup. I've gone through like 2 bottles before. I really love this primer. This is the primer that you want to use when you want your foundation to last you all day. Like it's going to the face. Now I will say you either love or hate this primer, right? Some people do find this primer to be too gripping and too tacky, in which case if you want like a more mild version of this primer, I would recommend the KVD Pore Filling Primer, the newer one from the brand. But for me, this is like pure perfection. I like to use this with a more medium to full coverage foundation because it is really going to like adhere the foundation to my skin, still make it skin-like and long wearing and smoothing, and it is definitely the only primer that will really, for me at least, extend the wear time of my foundation. It sticks on. And then last but not least is the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas Primer. Now, I will say I only like the liquid one, sorry, not the balm one. And I know there is a difference. Like I find the balm one, I've had that before and it makes my skin oilier than this one. When I use this one, it's completely fine. And this is the primer that I'm wearing today on my face. I love this primer. It's a really nice primer for when I want a smooth canvas where I don't want it to be necessarily too hydrated. I don't want the super tacky, grippy feeling of the Hydro Grip. I just want it to be a straight down the line kind of hydrating, non-greasy, non-glowy, smoothing primer. And I can't quite tell you why this looks so good on my skin and why I love it. And I actually did a video, I have gone through a bottle of this before as well, and I did this video where it was like makeup I completely forget about, and I was like, I just don't really care about this primer, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't have much left, so I went through this period of like a month or 2 just like where I used it nearly every day because I was like, I just want to use this product up, it's nearly expired. And then when it was used up, I was like, I found myself, sorry, just missing this primer and wanting to use it every day again. And I noticed in the time that I was using this, my skin just looks so perfected and lovely every single day with this primer. And I really noticed a difference from when I didn't have it in my collection and I was using other primers. I missed it so much that I had to repurchase it. So all of those 3 primers have been repurchased by me. Next up, let's talk about color corrector. I think the first obvious color corrector for me is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Vanish color corrector. I have the shade 1 Why Are You Not Focusing? Like, you can see how much I've used of this primer, or sorry, color corrector. I really, really like this product. It is a really nice shade. I have dark under eyes and I have this weird, like, some of my discoloration is hyperpigmentation, so it's more of like a lighty brown color, and then I have darkness as well, which is like that purpley gray. So I find it really hard to find like a shade that actually color corrects my under eyes well, and this particular shade does really well. The other thing that I like about this color corrector is the formula of this does not change the formula of any concealer that I put over the top of it at all. It's kind of like a color corrector that goes on and just doesn't disturb any of the other makeup on my face. So I really, really enjoy that one. Next up is a product that is very, very similar, but I actually think I like this one a little bit more, and it's the Sigma Beauty color corrector. I have the shade light to medium, and I like this one because I have the 2 different shades. So I like to put the deeper one on first and then the lighter one. And the reason why is because the deeper one, like, because of the darkness and discoloration, the deeper one is going to really like kind of color correct that deeper shade, and then I put the lighter one over the top and it then kind of brightens and color corrects again, so it's like hitting it from 2 sides. I don't know if that sounds really weird, but like, I just find with my under eyes, even with concealer shades, I need like a slightly deeper one and then a lighter one, and it works better. If I go in with just a deeper one, my under eyes look darker, and if I go in with just a lighter one, my under eyes, like, the darkness gets enhanced. I know, they're very particular, but I particularly just absolutely love and adore this formula. Again, it doesn't disturb any of the like concealer formulation, so it just goes on, and then whatever concealer you put over the top, it holds true to its formula. It's not drying or anything, but it's not overly greasy. It's a really, really lovely color corrector. And then last but not least is the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam corrector. I have the shade C1, and I really, really love this because I love that it is a kind of doe foot applicator. It makes it really nice and easy to use. And I just like this formula is it's actually a different formula to the concealer, because when you look at the ingredients, they're different. And I like this one because it is very lightweight on the under eye. It's not as hydrating and creamy as the other 2. It's just a very lightweight gel-like formula, and it does a really nice job of being a very thin layer and a really good job of color correcting. It is not the ultimate perfect shade for me. Out of the 3 of them, I'll show you swatches in a second. Out of the 3 of them, the Sigma is the best shade match for me when I can combine them, but it's still a really, really good match, and it does a really lovely job, and I love the ease of it. And so it does a great job of color correcting. It's a very thin, lightweight formula. Doesn't impact concealer formulations either. Great job. Great job. Just for reference sake, these are the swatches of the correctors. So this is Natasha Denona C1. These are the Sigma, so the deeper and the lighter Sigma, and then this is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic color corrector. I think I was saying concealers, sorry, color correctors. So as you can see, like, these 2 are just the absolute best match for me. I did forget to mention everything will be linked in the description box down below for you guys. They will be affiliated links, so if you shop through them, thank you so much. Let's actually move on to concealer now before we move on to foundation. I think my concealer choices are going to be very, very obvious to you guys. So the first one is the Urban Decay Quickie concealer. I have the shade 20NN. I freaking love this concealer. You have seen me use this concealer non-stop since I got it. I absolutely love it. Never expected to like it. Picked it up because I will usually always pick up a new concealer unless it has like full coconut ingredients in it, like the new Makeup by Mario one, where it's just, I just know 100% it's going to break me out. So unless it has that, I will always usually pick up a new concealer because I'm very nosy. And I love this. It is like full coverage in the best way. Like, it actually, I can just do 1 layer of this concealer and it covers my under eyes. It is lightweight. It's hydrating but not creamy or like greasy. It doesn't settle in fine line. I mean, if you have lines, your concealer's going to kind of like settle in them regardless, right? Like, that's science, but like, it doesn't like settle in them heavy. And then it's, I don't know, it's so long wearing, it's smoothing. everything about this concealer is true perfection to me. Like every single thing about this concealer is true perfection. If I had to give up my entire concealer collection and just have one, I honestly could. Like I could just keep this. This is hands down my favorite concealer. I just love it. And like, it's kind of, it does remind me a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape, but not like, you know how Tarte Shape Tape, everyone says it's like a little bit too heavy and too drying on the eyes. This is not heavy or drying on the under eyes. It's not super hydrating. So I will say, if you're looking for like an extra hydrating concealer, it's not for you, but it's just truly perfection. Like for me, truly perfection. And then next up in a very close second is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealers. I have two shades, 2.1, which is the lighter one, 2.8 or 7. 2.7N. In the deeper one here, I need to mix them together. I actually need to pick up a deeper shade in this one too to mix together. Anyway, I love these just as much as I love the Quickie concealer, but the Quickie concealer is like a nose ahead of these ones. But same reasons. I can just put one layer of this concealer on and it completely covers my under eyes and my darkness. It's like unheard of for me and my preferences. It is so lightweight. Like this is the thinnest concealer I have ever tried. It is that lightweight. You will not feel it on the under eyes. It's smoothing, doesn't create texture, it wears beautifully. It is an impeccable concealer. A little bit more hydrating than the Quickie, but not an overly hydrating concealer. So again, if you're someone that likes a creamy hydrating concealer, it's not for you. But if you're someone that wants a really lightweight, smoothing, full coverage concealer, this is for you. And I freaking love this, okay? I just adore it. Last but not least, naturally, I have to talk about the Mcgrath Labs concealer. This is the shade L4. Normally I have to mix L4 and L2 together because this is a bit too deep. And actually I like mixing these two together. They work really well. This is such a beautiful concealer, more of a medium coverage, but the best thing about this pat concealer is it layers really well. So you can build this up to be quite a full coverage concealer because it will layer impeccably and like not get too gunky or heavy feeling on the under eyes. This is a more hydrating concealer, so if you want something that is quite hydrating, this is the one you want to go for. This is still very smoothing and lovely on the under eyes. It doesn't like make them look heavy or anything. Wears beautifully. Like again, chef's kiss of a product. Like truly, this is a really lovely product. And I think especially if you have mature under eyes and they're very dry and you're a little bit worried about the other two, this is the one that I would then probably like say maybe give it a go because it's absolutely gorgeous. Let's talk about foundations. First up, Uoma Beauty. I mean, I've gone through a bottle of this foundation already. I absolutely love this one. You haven't seen it too much on my channel lately. Actually, I should use it now because this one, even though I got a lighter shade, T1N, it's still a little bit too deep for me. But right now I have a bit of a tan, so it might work a lot better. But I love this. This is when I want a full coverage glam moment. This is the foundation I'm going for. It's kind of a natural, almost matte finish, so it's not like super hydrating on the skin, at least my shade, but it is full coverage, very thin. Like it does not look cakey or heavy or feel cakey and heavy on the skin. It's still very lightweight on the skin while providing that coverage. Definitely great for those of us that have combination to oily skin. It's going to be really long wearing, doesn't settle in fine lines, doesn't emphasize texture. It's really smoothing. I adore it. Like it's such a good foundation. The foundation that I got married in, the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I have Mont Blanc here and Deville, sorry, here. I find when I get a little bit of a tan, I just need like a pump of Deville in this one, in Mont Blanc. This is actually nearly finished. I don't even know if it'll pick up on camera, but it's like, oh, is it going to show? I think I just mixed it up, but it's like here. See, can you see that? Yeah, I really don't have much of this left. As I mentioned, I wore this when I got married. Oh, it's so lovely. It is a light to medium, solid medium foundation. I don't like to build this. I like to keep this on the light/medium spectrum just because this foundation, if I find on my skin, if I do build it up too much, it can look a little bit heavy and cakey. So I like to keep it a bit lighter coverage, but it is beautiful. It makes your skin just look like your skin, but better. It's very skin-like. It's not texturizing or texture enhancing, but it's not also smoothing. It's just straight down the line, but it just gives this beautiful, healthy, natural glow to the skin. But like even for my combo gals, in my oily gals, I still think that you would like this because it isn't like crazy hydrating and glowy and dewy to the point where you just feel greasy and gross. Very lightweight on the skin, very perfecting, long wearing, doesn't settle in fine lines. Like absolutely love and adore this foundation. I mean, clearly if I wore it on my wedding day. Last but not least, a foundation that honestly almost pips my NARS Light Reflecting is the KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. So I have Light 12 and Light 6. I got an additional lighter shade because this one's just a touch too deep for me, so I just mix in a little drop of this one, or sometimes I really am just this white, to be honest with you. I love this. I love this foundation. Again, I got an extra shade, like I love it. It is one of those foundations that you can tailor from light coverage to full coverage. Like it can go full coverage, full coverage, but it can also go on really light and look very just natural on the skin. Well, it looks natural on the skin regardless, because that's the other thing I love about this is even if you build it up to like a full coverage, it does not look heavy, it does not look cakey, it doesn't feel heavy. It's such a thin product, and it is like it's called a serum foundation, and that's how I would describe it. It's like a full coverage serum, so just your skin still looks like skin, but it's like perfected at the same time. Like it's smoothing, doesn't settle in fine lines, long wearing. I love it. I love it so much. There is not one bad word I can say about this foundation, truly. Like it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It is a straight down the line like natural finish. It's not like dewy and it's not matte, it's just straight down the line natural finish as well. Now let's talk about powders. I've actually broken my powders up into under eye powder and face powder because I am a little bit extra and I can, but I don't want to use and don't like to use the same under eye powder or powder on my face and my under eyes because of my discoloration and my preferences. Look, leave me alone, okay? That's just how I roll. Anyway, so my top 3 favorite under eye powders. First up, you can't go past this one. This is the Mcgrath Labs Under Eye Blurring Powder in the shade Light. I've gone through 2 of these before. This is my 3rd. It is gorgeous. Like it is the most ultimate smoothing and blurring setting powder ever. And it is an under eye exclusive powder. It says you can obviously use this all over your face if you want. It's just not going to last that long. It's actually the setting powder I've got on my T-zone and my under eyes today. And anytime I'm just feeling a little bit too textured and I really just want that blur, this is the one that I reach for because it really does smooth and blur the skin like no other powder I've ever had. It's a touch too drying on the under eyes, just a touch, but the way that it still blurs and smooths, it's like it's not too bad for me and my under eyes. But if I'm having an extra dry skin day, like I can't use this. I will also give an honorable shout out to the Laura Mercier Secret Under Eye Brightening Powder. That is also a top favorite of mine, and it is very similar to this but just like in a loose version and slightly more hydrating. The other one that I absolutely love is the Westman Atelier Vital Pressed Powder in Pink Bubble. I feel like you can tell how much I love this. It is nearly gone. And I know that Westman Atelier actually says not to put this on your under eyes, but for me this is amazing on my under eyes. Now this is a really hydrating under eye powder, but still very smoothing and blurring, and then the pink bubble shade just like adds this beautiful little brightness to it. So I don't know, she says not to use this on your under eyes, but for me everything about this formulation looks perfect on my under eyes, and I think it's because I have combo skin, so on the rest of my face this isn't enough, but on my under eyes, because I do have the Sahara Desert on my under eyes, I know they're great, aren't they? It's like this beautiful hydrated gorgeous formula on there. So yeah, I love this one. It's an expensive under eye powder, but it is beautiful. And last but not least, this is the Make Beauty Translucent Pressed Powder. Again, you can tell how much I love this. Again, another powder that honestly, because my skin is combo, on the rest of my face, it really doesn't look good. It might look good instantly, but as soon as my skin warms up to it, it just starts looking textured and dewy and oily again. But on my under eyes, it is amazing because it provides this like level of blurring and setness while still hydration on the under eyes. And the other thing is this shade provides an extra little bit of coverage and brightness to my under eyes. So if I've got a less full coverage concealer, I like to put this on because it'll just add that extra touch of coverage. But because it has that extra hydration and it's still a setting powder, it's very lightweight and on the skin instead of using like a pressed foundation for a bit of extra coverage. So yeah, they're my 3 under eye powders. Hopefully that made sense. Setting powders, obvious one, Kosas Cloud Set Powder. I have gone through, this is Breezy. This is my all over face shade most of the time. I've gone through like 6 of these, truly. I'm constantly cycling through these. They are amazing. I also have Airy for when I'm either extra pale or if I want to use this to like put through the T-zone and the under eyes and stuff, but I don't love this as much on the under eyes, I will say that, as the other 3 powders. Holy dooly, this is such a good face powder. Like it is an Instagram filter in a compact while still not being so mattifying and drying that your skin feels like parched. Like it blurs my skin, just completely blurs it. And then it also sets it, and when I do use this, like my makeup will last at least 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, depending on how oily my skin is going with no touch-ups. But my skin still looks like healthy, not glowy in the sense where it's like, I don't know, if you've combo skin and you don't love super glowy skin, but like healthy skin, and if you're picking up the vibe that you know what I mean, you're getting it. But like, to me, there's like what I've got right now, which is like healthy looking skin for me and my preference, with strategic highlighted glow, right? And then the rest of my face doesn't look crazy matte, but it doesn't look like this, right? That's what this does. Like it just creates this beautiful smooth canvas where it's just, yeah, it doesn't make my skin overly matte. It's still hydrating and everything, but it sets and forgets and blurs. I think I just described that ridiculously, but hopefully you're picking up what I was putting down. Next up, for when I am more like oily or I just really want to set my face and I need it to last and lock in place, Laura Mercier, what is this one called again? Translucent Loose Setting Powder Ultra Blur. So this is like the newer formula that they released. I love this so much. I love this so much. This is much better than the original formula in my opinion. This one doesn't have any talc in it. This is so finely milled. And when you put it on your face, it blurs. Like holy dooly does it blur. It is like an Instagram filter again. It super duper blurs, but it has that like long lasting, like it's a lot more mattifying and like, I want to say drying, but in a good way on the skin than say the Kosas powder, that it's like I use this with usually like a powder puff and I press it in, and then my makeup, it ain't budging. It is not budging. It's not getting overly oily or dewy throughout the day. It is going to lock in place and look filtered all day when I use this, and that is what I love this for. But because it's so finely milled, it also feels really light on the face. So you know, some setting powders, if you like use too much, it can just feel a bit heavy, and like if you move your face or smile, you're going to crack. Like that doesn't feel like this. It feels very lightweight and like you're not wearing powder almost, but it is setting and forgetting, at least for me and how I like to use it. This is not technically a setting powder, but I wanted to give this a shout out because I do use this as like a setting powder in most instances, and I want to tell you like the reasons how and why. So this is actually the Makeup Forever HD Skin Matte Velvet powder. Of course it's not focusing. And I have the shade 1N06, so it's this like powder one right here. You can obviously use this as a straight up foundation, and I've done that once. And it is full coverage as a powder foundation on its own, and you use this little sponge thing, it's great. But that's just not overly how I personally like to wear it. I like to wear a more like a liquid foundation personally. But like this is actually the setting powder that I'm wearing today on the rest of my face. And the reason why I love this is I've really come into this point where I'm a little bit older. My skin, especially like my skin can go through texture days, and my skin goes through textured days. It has a lot of imperfections, acne, scarring. It's got a lot of hyperpigmentation at the moment from being in the sun. And I want it to kind of like, I want to cover that. I like my skin to look quite perfected in a lot of ways, but I don't want to wear like a full coverage foundation, or I don't want to have to put too much foundation on or spot conceal too much, because my skin also doesn't super love that. Like it can look a bit heavy and cakey on my skin and settle in fine lines too much. So what I love about this is when I like to use this with a light coverage foundation, put the, like say the Prada foundation for example, put that on. Today I have the Shiseido Glow Revitalizing Foundation, which is also a light coverage. Put that on, and then I set my face with this, not using too much. Like I don't set it with the puff or this sponge, I set it with a brush, and it just sets my face, but it completely covers any imperfections and like smooths out my skin in a really nice way, so that I'm still wearing like so that my skin still looks like I only have a very light coverage foundation on, like a very thin amount of foundation on, but then this small amount of powder on the rest of the face or in the areas that I need it is going to add that extra bit of coverage. So I have been loving this product for that. It doesn't set your face as long as what the Kosas and the Laura Mercier will. It doesn't, but if you are looking for like that more perfected kind of look to the skin, then it will give you that, and it will set it for a decent amount of time. It's just the other two are more long wearing. I find if I use like say these two, like this one through my T-zone and my under eyes, and then this on the outer part of my face where I want a little bit of extra coverage, it's like perfect. And then because I've used this one on my T-zone, it like lasts longer. I feel like I have just not made any sense in this video, so I really hope it's helpful or fun. Okay, last category for this video is setting spray. Straight up, you know that the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, holy grail, holy grail. This is actually my second bottle. I absolutely love this stuff. It is so good. It's one of those products where it is that good, but I can't tell you why. I just can't. This is the only setting spray, hands down, that actually does extend the wear time of my makeup, but it also doesn't like, it's not mattifying, it doesn't dry out my skin, but it doesn't make my skin feel too oily or hydrated either. And then when you like melt it on like, or when you use it on the skin and like after you've done like powder and everything, it just melts all of your products into your skin and like makes it look like your skin just woke up with like this full face of makeup in a really natural way. Like you just can't see the product on the skin. Like it's just magic in a bottle. Pure magic in a bottle. Next up is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Spray. It's actually my second bottle of these as well, and I haven't actually opened this one yet because I'm trying to use my other ones up. This is also delightful. This one I like more for a bit of hydration and like fresh feeling. It kind of feels like the Chanel Water Fresh tint in a setting spray. This one also does extend the wear time of my makeup as well, but just nothing beats the Charlotte Tilbury, if I'm honest with you. But this one does do a really good job at setting and forgetting, but it's more hydrating. But it also doesn't make your skin feel oily or greasy. Like if you have oily combo skin, it's not going to feel like add to that. But if you need some extra, like if you have dry skin, you'll probably really like that one a lot more. Whereas I think if you have combo oily skin, you'll probably like this one a little bit more. And lastly is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Setting Spray or Makeup Enhancing Spray. So you can use this in multiple different ways. You can use this as like a skin kind of like toner spray, a hydrating spray, you can spray it on your face before you put primer and stuff on. And then you can also use it as a setting spray. I don't find this one personally is as good at like extending the wear time of my makeup, but if you have dry or normal skin, you will really love this one because it is very hydrating on the skin. So if you have super oily skin, you might not love this as much, but when I'm having like a dry skin moment, this is so good because it really will add all of that moisture back into the skin. And it does set your makeup, don't get me wrong, it does set it and it does make it like wear longer, just not as long as the other two. But where this will shine is, again, if you have dry skin, you will absolutely love this product. That is my top 3 faves in, you know, primer, concealer, foundation, all of that jazz. Hopefully that was interesting. I feel like I just said I loved every product and I couldn't really articulate too much why, but hopefully you got something out of it. Let me know some of your favorites from these categories down below in the description box, not in the description box, in the comments. I would love to know from you guys or hear from you guys what your favorite products are. I've lost my marbles, can you tell? And if you're watching to this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.